Hey everybody, I know we've covered a lot of things and we're finally getting to the point where we actually want to start taking all this information that we've gathered, all of the knowledge that we have, how we know which locations are going to be profitable, and then trying to figure out exactly how we can use that to now get in front of the landlords and actually make this sale. So the most important thing, right? So we can then sign that contract, start managing that home, whatever it's going to take for us to start getting that money coming in and start getting those listings, right? And so what I've done is I've created a list of all the different tactics that I've taken to acquire new leads, right? And I'm going to kind of give you some backstories on them. I'm going to explain to you the exact way of going about it. I'm going to try and make this not an extremely long video, but I also have I do want to give you a lot of information at the same time, right? So I'm kind of stuck in between these two of not too much content, but I do want to provide as much value as possible because there's other courses that I've purchased which don't give you a lot of details about how to go about doing this, and they don't tell you a lot of the actual stories behind it. So I want to make sure that I'm telling you as much as you possibly can so you can use whatever strategy that'll work best for you, okay? There's a lot of ways of going about it. You got to be creative. This is sales, right? So there is a part of this where you just have to understand how to get in front of people. Now, I have always promised you that you don't need the sales gene, and I don't think you're going to need the sales gene. But getting in front of landlords is still going to be a process that you have to go through. Okay, we are going to get to the point where I actually walk you through how to use a sales data template for sales. Okay, but anyways, let's get started. The very first thing I'm going to recommend that you do is actually create a pitch deck for your company, for who you are, what you're planning on doing, everything along those lines. All right. Now I'm going to show you an example, and this is from Eric Mueller. He is one of the people who actually pushes co-hosting more than anybody else. I had purchased his course, and this is the pitch deck that he offered to everybody. So please take a look at it, review it. It is pitch decks are fairly simple. There's a lot of templates online, so if you just Google how to build out one, you can definitely find one. I wouldn't overly stress about this. Just do your homework to put something that looks presentable together, so that you can actually present this to a landlord when the time comes. But this is not the entire package. I just want to show you something that is going to be helpful for when the time comes. Okay, so who your company is, information about that, table of contents of everything that you're going to be going through, your philosophy for who you are, your core values, who your team is, what you do exactly. Once again, guys, you can pause this video and read these a little bit more in depth, but I'm trying to save you some time here. Some of their listings, so they give some examples of the listings that they have and the kind of occupancy and revenue. More examples. Great examples are obviously really great because they show proof. The technology partners that you have. So these are all the different softwares and SaaSes that you can use, which will allow you to manage your homes a little bit better than anybody else. The different marketing platforms, so not only Airbnb, but everybody else. Reviews, so once again, more proof that we're looking at here. Working together, so this is talking about what it's actually to work with you as a company, right? Then you have the partner breakdown. So this is how they have a property management. They take 30%. This is a little bit older. You can't really ask for 30% anymore unless you're in a really small market. So usually it's around 20% now, and all of their contact information. So there you have it. That's a very quick pitch deck that I recommend that you put together. But once again, the point of this video is to actually give you tactics, sales tactics for how to get in front of the landlord in the first place. That pitch deck is what you're going to use when you're in front of the landlord to prove to them that you know what you're doing. And I'm going to make a separate video teaching you how to use the data sales process in the template to actually make the sale as well. Okay. But let's go through this tactic here. We're going to start off with the very first one, which is video emailing. This is actually something that I did learn from Eric Mueller as well. So video emailing, it is cold outreach. So you're emailing people that you've never talked to, and you find their email through Craigslist, through Zillow, through whatever other platform that you find them from, and you want to send them an email. Now, the reason I'm recommending video emailing is because it has a way higher open rate, like significantly higher open rate, and people appreciate you putting in the time to make a video. And it actually does work to get sales. So I actually was able to I sent out over a 1 week period a whole bunch of emails. I got one response. I turned into a contract, and I sold that contract months later for $20,000. So strongly recommend it worked for me. If you kept this up and did this on a weekly basis where you're just constantly sending these out, if you hire somebody from the Philippines as a virtual assistant to do this for you on a regular basis, that's something else that can work as well. So let me explain to you exactly the tools you'll need to make video emailing work and the sort of process as well. So the first one is BoomBomb or BombBomb, sorry, BombBomb. It's a way that you can actually set. BombBomb is like an attachment that'll automatically integrate with your Gmail. And then what it does is it shows up as this little video GIF, and it plays like 3-second GIF. And what you're actually recommended doing is writing like the name of the person, like open this video or something like that. Like read that, watch this video. And what you do is you then make this quick little video where it explains to you the person who you are, why you're reaching out to them. You want to talk about the data, but like, hey, I've done my sales tax, my data research. Your home that you have, the reason you're getting this video is because it can actually make you more money than if you were rented out on an annual basis. I have the proof. I have the numbers. If you email me back, I can give you all the information you need. So something quick like that, where it's just like a 1 minute, not too long. And that's actually going to get a way higher response than if you were to just send a cold email. And BombBomb, once again, integrates with Gmail, allows you to do that. Now, Loom is another software that I believe allows it to do it as well. I'm not 100%. You may both need Loom, so don't quote me on that. But I've heard a lot of good things about Loom. So how exactly would you go about this, right? So say you found a listing on Craigslist. Craigslist is usually the easiest for finding emails, right? You want to hit reply, and then in here you can see you can email the landlord, right? Now, typically you can also do this on Zillow, but for the most part, it's not like a direct email that you would normally do. So it's a little bit harder. Whereas Craigslist is kind of old school, and you can kind of get through the old way, right? Um, and get directly to a landlord. So here's a quick way to tell if you're actually reaching out to a landlord or if you're reaching out to a realtor, right? How clean this is, how organized it is, if it's really, really organized and well put together and everything, it's most likely a realtor because they do so many of them. If it's kind of messy and all over the place, it's most likely a landlord. And you kind of want it to be messy and all over the place because then you're reaching out directly to a landlord, and that's a better way to actually make a sale, is when you can get right to the decision maker, right? So I recommend doing it for both regardless. I'm just saying that you're probably going to have a higher response rate for the actual landlords rather than the most likely realtors, right? Now, I mentioned this before as well on the past videos. Craigslist and Zillow, they are just two of the options of what you can use to actually get a hold of people. Each individual state has different sites as well that work specifically for them. There's also Facebook and a lot of other things as well, okay? But this is what I'm recommending: video emails using BombBomb or Loom, and doing that. Now, another thing that I want you to do as well is you're going to have AirDNA, and you're going to be subscribed to AirDNA's certain section because that's how you have all this information in the first place. And they have this tool, Rentalizer, right? And with Rentalizer, what it does is it gives this little report on an address. So you put in an address, you put the number of bedrooms, bathrooms, the number of guests, right? And then it's going to give you a quick rundown of what they think the annual revenue is going to be. I promise you it's going to be off by quite a bit because it takes in a lot of bad data. So just keep that in mind, right? But it's a very quick and presentable way to gather something. So what I used to do was before I would send the email, I would make the video. Then I would also take their address and I'd plug it into here, which would show them the average annual revenue that they're expected, stuff like that. It also shows a picture of their listing, of their home. So you can see I pulled this up from a place in Houston. So it's very relatable, right? And then what you do is you press this little button here, download report, and it's actually going to download a very presentable report that will have all of these comparable listings as well. So they'll be able to see other places within their area, and you throw that on as an attachment. So in this video email, you have like a quick little brief. Hey, how's it going? Like, just wanted to let you know, blah, 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 right? Like who I am, and I'm reaching out to you because of Airbnb, and however you want to word it, figure out the best way to word it. You have the little video GIF in there, and it's saying like, click me, and it's going to pop open a video for them to actually watch. And then they have the attachment in there as well. It's going to show them their actual property. So this is going to show the landlord that you've put a lot of work into just sending that one email, and you're serious about this, right? And you really want to push the fact that you know the data, and you know that their home can make them more money because you have the data. And that's going to help them open up the actual email and respond to you and get you a meeting, okay? So that's the very first recommendation, right? Now I'm giving you a lot of detail there because I want to give you a lot of detail because it matters. Now, cold calling it's been going on for a very, very long time, right? Everyone knows what cold calling is. And if you don't, what it is when you make a list of names and numbers of people that you want to reach out to that you've never talked to, and you just simply call them and you pitch them what you're trying to do. Very, very difficult, very small return rate, like it just doesn't work very often, but if you push hard enough, you can make sales. And it's kind of crazy to think, like, it doesn't cost you anything. And you're just simply making those calls over and over and over again. But the way that you want to do it is, once again, very strategically, right? So If sometimes when you're on Craigslist, you can actually get the number, but when you're on Zillow, they almost always have the number, right? But these are usually always going to be realtors as well. So you have to be able to reach out to that realtor and make the pitch to the realtor. And I'm telling you guys, like, it's free. And if you don't have any capital to throw at like marketing or referral groups or whatever it may be, just start calling these people and telling them what you're doing and that this person's home that they're listing it can be more. And if you reach out to the landlord, you may be able to make that commission happen faster for them, right? So that's one of the things I want to recommend with cold calling is how you want to do that. Now the other one is I call cold viewing. Okay, so this is where you actually book a meeting to go and view the property. This is something that was recommended to me like 4 years ago, which was literally go to these listings and book a tour. And what you're going to meet with, you're going to meet with the landlord, you're going to meet with a realtor, you're going to meet with a leasing agent, whatever it may be, but you're going to meet with that person and they think that you're actually coming to view the property to rent it out, right? Now, mind you, I felt shady after a while doing it, but I promise you it does work. And it's not the worst thing in the world because you could potentially be renting this place from the landlord. They would just have to be okay with Airbnb. So essentially, like, you're explaining to them, hey, like, I know I'm not going to be renting this out and living in it, but you could potentially be making more money if you actually turned it into an Airbnb. So you're kind of doing them a service by saying, you don't realize what you're sitting on, sir. Your home is more profitable if it were to be an Airbnb. And I've only been kicked out of 2 houses out of like 100+ viewings. Okay. So I promise you it's absolutely worth it. And I got the majority of my homes by doing this tactic because you're face to face with these people. They can see you, they trust you, they believe you. And it's just a way there's a really high, I don't know, conversion rate. There's a really, really high conversion rate when you do it this way. It just can feel shady after a while, and it can kind of, you feel bad if the person doesn't respond very well, and it is what it is. But like sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do, right? So cold viewing 100% is a tactic that works. That I do recommend. Just don't be mean to the person when they're not happy that you're not there to rent out the home. Okay, like understand that you are getting somebody out of their house to go view this place for them, and you're not actually doing it for the reason that they think you're doing it for. But like I said, a lot of people have good responses to it. Some people don't. It is what it is. Now, the next two kind of go hand in hand. Okay, so you got networking with realtors. Once again, this is like real estate 101. Know people, right? Get to know people. Be a part of the groups. Be a part of the networks. Be a part of like the whatever is happening whatsoever. Another one, like meetups as well, and Facebook groups. All of these are sort of around the same idea of getting involved with the community of real estate and short-term rental and Airbnbs, doing whatever you have to do to be around these people so that deals start to organically happen, right? But a way to sort of fire up those organic referrals, right, is to pay people for referrals. So at like realtors and other people in the real estate investing industry, and anybody whose job is connected to real estate. I remember I had a guy who it was like insurance was one of them, realtor was another, but this guy actually helped people like defer their taxes or, oh no, depreciate their taxes instantly. And it was this like newer sort of concept, but the only people he worked with was realtors. And so he was constantly in front of these realtors and homeowners and landlords. Sorry, he was always in front of landlords, not realtors, landlords. And so he was talking to my group of people that I needed to get in front of. And so I paid him a fee every time he got me in front of one of these people. And it was a great way to actually make these connections. And one time he actually got me in front of a property management company, the COO of a property management company that had 1,000+ listings in the city. And that turned into like one of the best possible situations ever. And it was just because I offered to pay him a referral fee. Now, I actually didn't have a lot of money at the time either that to just like pull out of pocket and give to him. And so I told him, I'll give you 10% of the money that I make for 1 year off of any contract that comes through any of your referrals. And he was like, that's good enough for me. Okay. So there's ways that you can do it if you're being more creative with it, right? So I'm just saying referrals through your networking is a great way to do it. Now, finding hosts online. That's the next one we got up here. Finding hosts online. This one is a little bit creepy, if I'm being honest. It's a little creepy, but at the same time, it works. And from my understanding, it works. I know other people who have done it. I haven't done it myself, but I understand the logic behind it. And I think that when I go out and try and find new homes, and because I'm in the process now of actually going out to find more, I'm going to use this tactic. I know somebody who has a short-term rental cleaning company that has used this tactic, and it's worked very well for him. So let me explain how this one works. here's an example of one of the homes that we went through. And if you remember me talking about it, I knew this was a home that could be making way more money. And he had designed it really well, but he just not the great at managing it, right? Yeah. So mind you, he does have really high reviews. So he is doing something right, but at the same time, he's doing a bunch of things wrong, right? He's like losing out on like $10,000 a year in potential profit. So what I did was I scrolled down here to his section, like the host section, and if you click on the photo, what it does is it pops open their profile, right? So you can actually see the landlord's profile, see all his reviews, stuff like that. Not landlord, host. And so now I can see here how many listings he has, and it looks like he has four, but two of them are the same. So he's got three, right? And what I can see is that he's new to it. You know, all of them are not like all that great looking. What I'm getting at is that I think there may be an opportunity here for me to reach out to this guy if I can find him and essentially explain to him that I do this as a full-time business and I see some potential for his listings to make more money. I'll use the data, I'll use comparables, and I'll explain to him that he's actually losing thousands and thousands of dollars because he's not properly marketing and advertising and managing these things, right? And so maybe he does a full-time job doing something else and just doesn't realize what's going on. You know, he's been in it. I can see he doesn't have like a crazy amount of reviews, so he's only been doing this for about a year. Maybe he's at the point where he's kind of fed up. He doesn't really want to be doing this as much as he thought he wanted to be doing it. Like, there's a lot of different reasons why he may potentially be okay with doing this. But once again, this is going to become a numbers game. Now, you can't reach out to these people directly on Airbnb because Airbnb doesn't allow that. That's can't remember the word for it, but soliciting. So you're not allowed to solicit directly through Airbnb. You can literally get banned, lose your account, lose everything, and so you really don't want to do that. What you're gonna have to do is you're gonna have to try and find Mike in Austin, Texas, in any other way that you possibly can. So here are some strategies that I recommend. I just typed in Mike and I put the location as Austin, Texas, and I looked for the exact same profile photo, and I was unsuccessful with that. So unfortunately, that one's not going to work. The other one that you could do is you could go to Maps, right? And you can go and try and find that home. And if you can find that home, right, then you can reverse look up the address through, I believe it's white papers, and then it may actually give you the name of the person who owns it, his address, his email, different things like that. So I'll show you what I mean and how to do this in the creepiest possible way. So first off, I know that his address is 2513 because he's got four photos of the front of his house, which I've already said is a really bad marketing play. But regardless, that's not what we're here for. 2513 is the name of is the address for this home. We just don't know what street it's on. However, if you come down here, we can see we have this range of where the home might be. And I can see there's 2nd Street, 3rd Street, 4th Street. There's all these other little areas here and all the way down here too. So really all you would need to do is using the map, you could, here, I'll go back. You could go to that exact same area, right? I'm around there right now. I think I have this a little messed up. I think it's like right here. Okay, so you got your 2nd Street, your 3rd Street, your 4th Street. You have this extra little area, and then down here as well, just like I mentioned, right? And you can take that little guy right here. If you've everyone, I think everyone in the world's used Google Maps. So you can take this and you can plot him down to try and find where that house might be by using Street View, right? And when you're on Street View, it also gives you the address. So look at 2510. What's his address again? 2513. Look, so we're in the right range. And now it's just a matter of seeing if we can spot his house, right? If we can spot his home, which it might actually potentially be that home because you can see it's obviously redone. No, it's not. It's got the 2 pillars. Now, mind you, it's also redone, so it might be a little bit harder to find. But the idea here is that you can go around and you can actually find the home itself. You can figure out what street it's on, and then you can go to reverse address lookup. And what that's going to do is pop open. Okay, this is pulling up Canadian things for me. I'll just show you what it is in Canada. This isn't going to be very helpful for the entire video, but essentially you put in someone's street address and it's going to pop up their actual name, like the owner of the name or the past owners of the names. And then from there, you can use that to either go back to Facebook and put in the last name and try and see if you can find that profile picture again, or it may give you, or you could, what are some other ways here? You could, it may actually just give you the phone number. And you can actually just call that person. You can also go to like the city direct. What is it? What would it be? So City Hall has for Austin will have the owner of every single home. So if you have the address, you can potentially pull up the information for the owner of that home. Now you actually have the owner's information, and then you can try and reach out to him directly and talk to him that way. So there's a lot of different ways that you can do this. I recommend watching a YouTube video where somebody explains it in way more in depth, right? That's what I'm getting at. But what I'm saying is that there's a lot of ways that we can work to reach out to these different landlords to try and get these contracts as quickly as we possibly can, right? Trying to just give you as much as I possibly can, all the different things that I've done, right? Another one, Facebook groups. So Facebook groups, there's so many Facebook groups for Airbnbers. What I would recommend is just be on the Facebook group for the city that you're in. If there isn't one, create one, but most likely there will be one. And just start providing value, right? So be the person within the group who's very active. Comment on people's things, answers people's questions, tell people about the things that you are doing. So say you're like, hey, just got my first listing, super excited about it. Hey, just got my 5th listing. Here it is. Like, check it out. What do you guys think? Like, all these different things is what you want to essentially be promoting. And what's going to happen is people are going to be seeing you as a thought leader. They're going to see you as somebody who knows what they're doing. They can trust you because they can see you're in the community and you're helping out. And then they're going to be like, hey, you know what? I've been doing this for a while and I have a listing. I can't do it anymore. Can you take it over for me? And like that'll happen. Now, mind you, that hasn't happened directly for me, but mind you, I provide a lot of value to the community as well through my YouTube channels and just talking with different people. And I have a lot of people who have asked to partner with me to build businesses. And I have a lot of people who have come to me and like asked to purchase homes together to like raise money for things. So just being a part of that community and adding value is gonna naturally turn into things. Now you can't rely on those things as to like, oh, I need a sale by next week, because it just doesn't happen that way. But this is something that you want to organically do every single week as much as you possibly can, because it's going to turn into more and more things as you go along. And that's what you really want, right? You want those things. And eventually you're no longer doing the video emailing and the cold calling and the cold viewing. You just have this organic referrals coming through and people knowing who you are. And you've gotten to a point where like, you really don't need any more homes, but if somebody brings you one, that's great. And you're not striving for your next home. So that's the idea here, right? That's what I'm recommending with Facebook groups, the referrals, all that stuff. Meetups, if you guys aren't familiar with Meetup. So you want to go to Meetup. I think it's just straight up meetup.com. And that's where they're going to have a lot of all the different events that you could possibly think of for a lot of different cities around the States, where it's literally like so on here, you can look up like Airbnb and put in a location like Austin, Texas, right? And there could be events where people are literally meeting up to go and talk about Airbnb. Look at 4-week Airbnb / short-term rental acquisition secrets masterclass with George Salas. Look at all these different Airbnb things, right? So you can go and you can actually just recommend, you go to these things and you try and meet up with these people. Then you can go like real estate Texas, right? There's going to be like 10 times more of the amount of things that you can do. So I know I didn't spell it right, guys. I apologize. You get what I'm getting at. I think this video is quite a bit and enough. It's actually more than I was even expecting to go into. But those are all the different tactics that I recommend. The video emailing is going to be the one that you can do every single week as new listings come up. You're just pushing it out. Cold calling, I'd even recommend doing cold calling like right away. Cold viewing for sure. Get out there, start talking to these landlords and realtors, getting connected and making your pitch over and over again. Talking to these people about what you do, because the more you do that, the better you're going to get, and then the better you will be at actually making those sales, right? Networking groups, as much as you can, once again, out there, get those connections in and just stay connected with these people. Have coffees, follow up, and make sure to follow up as well. So anyways, that's all of my tactics, all my sales recommendations of how to actually start getting in front of these people. From here, what we're going to do is talk about like the pitch, the objections, and how to use data to make the sale. All right. So let's move forward from here, and I'll see you guys in the next video.